First Watch Now.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler. First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your Sheriff's Office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
Well, let's start with Probation Officer Week.
It's, yes, here to recognize them. And, they're part of the unsung heroes of the criminal justice system. They truly are, but they're so instrumental when it comes to sentencing, because if somebody gets sentenced, it's probation that goes out and does the recommendation. They go back and do the history and give it to the county attorney and the judge to have them look at it. So, but also they're side by side. We work with probation all the time. That's juvenile and adult. So that's our partners over there too in the criminal justice system. So thank you guys for what you do, and we do appreciate you. Don't think you don't. We don't.
And they have 30 probation officers here in Cochise County right now, and they're looking for more. They also have, don't let it deter you if you hear that you have to have a bachelor's degree, because they do a lot of work and they require a lot of that educational knowledge. But even the surveillance officers, also have to do a lot of work, but you don't have to have a degree to be a surveillance officer. So make sure if you're looking for something fun and exciting to do, go ahead and check that out for adult probation and juvenile probation, because those probation officers, regardless of what, whether they work for juvenile or adult, they're very, very important to our overall system of justice.
And they actually fall into the structure of the court system. So they're part of the judicial system. And I've had a lot of friends come and go through the probation, seen them retire, and again, they're the unsung heroes, but they're out there every day. And their job mainly is to make sure those that are sentenced by the court under a probationary status are held accountable. And those that fall out of regulation or the rules, they're held accountable, and they're a very big tool for us too when we deal with those on probation. So thank you guys and gals for what you do.
And if you are still looking for a job, that's a great opportunity. There's also an opportunity in our camera room.
There is, and that's part of our new border operation, which is going to, we signed the paperwork for the building, I believe it's Monday now. There was a little bit of a delay, and so that's been worked out. So Monday, you'll see some stuff that we're into our new Facebook. We'll put some stuff out on that, but we're excited about that. That's innovation, and I want to thank Governor Ducey for that one. Innovation where the need was there, and that was to have a centralized border operations center that deals with human trafficking, human smuggling, drug smuggling, you name it. Our camera room, all our special operations crimes under the auspice of a border that will be a one-stop shop, not just for Cochise County, but for the state of Arizona and beyond. Some of the programs we're building beyond the walls of the state of Arizona right now. So we're excited about it. You're going to see some transition with that we move into that new facility. So again, we're on the cutting edge of that one.
And another job opportunity is in our jail.
Our jail. We're hiring in our detention. Please, if you're looking for a job, I've had a couple people call me, and I said, listen, we're hiring in the jail. What a great place to work. It's a great team environment. And people say, well, that's a rough place to work. I'm not going to say it's working at the Hilton, but it's a great job. No day's the same when it goes to work, and you're dealing with people in need. I'll just say that. A lot of them are down there, and they got a lot of challenges. Don't get me wrong. But you work within a team, and that's what makes this nice. We don't put you out there by yourself. Not saying there might be times where you're out there by yourself, but most time you're working within a team. You always have virtual support, which means there's cameras watching what you do to make sure that if you do get in a situation, you got backup coming.
And you can be 18 years old to start your career that way. And as you progress and you become 21, take a look at our Facebook, and you can see where detention officers are actually becoming deputies. So you can see that that's a progression in your career path.
We do. We like to hire within, internal hires. But since I've been sheriff for the last 11 years, there's a correctional path, and there's a sworn path, sworn our deputies. So we support both sides. But those that wanted to switch over, we support that also. And exciting news, we'll talk about the budget here, is we just raised those salaries. So our anticipated here next couple months is to raise the salary to $45,000. So when those starting at jail will start at $45,000, which is a respectable salary for our jail.
And continuing with the budget, so what are we doing with that?
So the budget this week was approved by the Board of Supervisors. So at this point, now we start implementing our proposals, which means budget being one of them when it comes to personnel. And that's built around and supported around our compensation study that both the county and the sheriff's office puts together. And now we start looking at everybody's salary. We've been doing it anyway for the last 6 months as we prepare for our budget. We spend a lot of time, and thanks to my senior staff, Celine Over, our business manager, putting these numbers together is a lot of work. It truly is. And then look at the comp studies to make sure that we're assessing people's salary based on what the market says, not based on what a personality should be. And or people dictate, well, I think I make more. Well, it's what the standards show. So again, so $45,000 for detention officers. Deputies are going to be starting at $55,000. That's our sworn ranks, and everything's relevant from there up. So corporals, sergeants, lieutenants, all the way up. And then all our administrative support, which falls under different categories because there's so many different classifications, from records to administrative assistants, evidence custodians, I mean, you name it. They're also going to be adjusted too. So we're excited about that. I just put an email out yesterday on that. So it'll be a couple months until the money starts flowing in from the board. There's still a meeting in August for to do some things, and then we're on our way like we do every year. So thank you to everybody who supported that.
And let's talk about a pursuit that happened on Tuesday.
Yeah, and great. I'm going to yield back a little bit, but this was another smuggling pursuit. Everybody thinks, well, the border's in great shape. Well, folks, I hate to tell you, it's not. And you look at the fentanyl coming across the border. I think it's 43 million pills so far this year. It's just sad that it's come across Arizona. Arizona, what did I hear the other day? 53% of all the fentanyl in this country comes through Arizona. I mean, it's just sad. And then you look at the tragedies behind those pills. We all know that, from our youth to our families to our communities. But the other day, one of our interdiction deputies, and Grady, I think you were out there with them, went to make a stop. This pursuit became a very potentially deadly pursuit. Tried to run over 2 of my deputies, a supervisor and one of my deputies out of the Douglas area. Went through, tore up some property at the prison down there off 191, and we ended up injuring one of the migrants in the back. We ended up getting the individual down in the Douglas area, but it became such a deadly force that measures and authorization was given to take this guy down, this driver. Turned to be a 19-year-old person that admitted to be part of the criminal cartel. Down here again, Cochise County smuggling, endangering my public, the quality of life, and so. Great, you can add some things onto that, but I'll tell folks out there, we're not giving up the pressure on this. If you come here to smuggle, we're going to hold you accountable. I don't care if you're a juvenile, adult. I know NBC Nightly News was just here, did a story on the juveniles, which is very sad to see these juveniles being exploited through this by the cartels. That is the common nexus here, folks. That and a border that needs attention. So we can do both. We put tension on the criminal cartels, secure the border. We can move this. We truly can, but I need help on that. It's hard to do it by yourself. So, Grady, you want to add anything on that?
Well, that pursuit went on for 40 minutes. So, I mean, it wasn't just a quick and done. He went up 191, came back down. He went on to the prison, as you said, and took out fences. And, I mean, he picked up several felonies just for the prison part of that. And then when he got down in Douglas, he abandoned his car, and then there was a manhunt trying to find this guy, and they finally found him in an alley. But 40 minutes and a lot of potentially deadly action was taken on his part.
Well, it was. And when you try to run over anybody, to include a deputy that's trying to do interdiction on you, I mean, you create a whole different situation. And then you have a manhunt, like you call it, which it is, and we're chasing you through communities, and you're locking down a residence. Folks, unacceptable in every level. And but he admitted that he was part of the cartels. He admitted what he was doing down here. Obviously, the migrants were in the back. They came across the border illegally. So, again, it goes back to the fact that we're going to continue doing this. And it's just sad to hear those stories. And I called the deputy. My deputy was the first one that he tried to run over. She's a young deputy, and talked to her a little bit about that. You're doing all right and stuff. And she's tough. She's a tough deputy. But it's still, it's what we do for a living. But either way, people need to be held accountable for their actions. And I know Brian McIntyre, our county attorney, will hold them accountable.
And one of the assets that we were able to use previously, and we since have not had, but we're getting back, is a helicopter. So whenever we have these types of situations, I think that it'll help, slow this down just a little bit in order to have that type of protection from the air.
I agree. So that was one of our proposals under Governor Ducey. We have a search and rescue helicopter that's supported. But we do not have an enforcement helicopter. Big difference in helicopter usage. So if somebody's missing or a rescue, yeah, we have that capability to get as first responders and have a helicopter up there. But we need an enforcement one that if we're chasing people through neighborhoods, that have the equipment on the helicopter to spot them. Pursuits where we can pull a patrol car back and keep the helicopter over on top of the pursuit. Plus, just the presence of a helicopter when you're trying to run is very demeaning for the suspect. So either way, it's prevention in the sky. And so we just bought one. We have a $9 million grant from the state of Arizona to support this program. 3 helicopter pilots. This will be a 24/7 operation for all law enforcement, not just the sheriff's office. And we do things for all law enforcement. It's a regional approach. We're a rural county. We need each other. So all the things we talk about in this show is to support all law enforcement. So we just bought one out of Illinois. It's got less than 500 hours. Beautiful machine. So you'll be seeing us up in the skies here hopefully next month or two. We'll be up there. The biggest delay we're having is getting equipment in it. And so we're working on that right now.
Let's talk about our animal control officers.
Let me just say, there's 5 of them. And they cover this whole county, 38th largest landmass county in the country, Cochise. And they do an amazing job. I'll just say that. They go out there, they deal with animals. They deal with the very sensitive. Animals, children, and elderly are hot topics if they're not handled properly. And you see very little complaints. There was a complaint back in December of a citizen that made some allegations that we proved to be false. Let me just say that. And but she hit social media and tried to make a big stink on it. And, of course, we countered that right away, went out and did an investigation and proved that wasn't the case. But they do. They go out there every day and address issues and deal with domesticated animals. Now, that goes back to a shelter. One of the biggest topics is a shelter. Right now, we're contracted with shelters around the county, different locations. And that's the way it's been for my 39 years, and yours too, Carol, that they bring our dogs to shelters that are controlled outside. We have contracts Cochise County does with these shelters. Well, there's hot topics about what we're going to do. Right now, Torreyville, which is a location, the old juvenile center there in Bisbee, is being converted over to Humane Society, which the county will contract with them for kennels and where we can take our animals to. I know people have brought up controversy with that. There's not enough shelter kennels, which there's a thought behind that. But the reality is that's what they have in place. There's also some places where we should be buying a facility here locally in this region here. Here's my stance, and I've said this since day one, is let's do it right. Cochise County needs to do it right. Either give a budget, hire staffing to run our own shelter. You can put that under the sheriff's office if you wish. Statutorily, animal control is a health department issue. It's not a sheriff's issue. There's only 2 sheriffs in the state that have animal control officers, Cochise being one of them. Traditionally, historically, that's the way it's been in my whole career, almost 4 decades. I don't have an issue with that, but let's do it right. Let's not half piece it together. I'm saying that very nice. Half piece it together and then say, okay, this will work. It's not about the cost. It's about doing it right and the quality of how we do it. So that's always been my stance. I'll continue to say that until the county figures out what they want to do.
And so when you're talking animal control officers and them dealing with animals, let's just fast forward a little bit about snakes.
You know, I'll tell you, I'm just going to tell the public, we respond to snake calls. Majority of my let me just say, all my deputies, I don't know one that's been through some kind of reptile certification course, do that as an outreach just to help citizens. But really, it's a huge liability for us. And I'll just place myself in this. And I remember I was a young sergeant back in the 90s where I got called during monsoon season at 9:30 at night of a snake on a porch. And I asked the female that, I'll never forget this, I said, "Are you going anywhere?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, call us in the morning if the snake's still there." And I told her, I said, "No offense, ma'am, I'm as scared as you are of that snake. So for me to go out there and try to get that snake off, we're both going to get bit. So let's just prevent that, see if it's still in the morning." But I understand people's concerns. Who do they call? But who do you call if you have termites in your house or pests like that? I mean, you call a professional. We're not professionals when it comes to snake removals. Thanks to the fire departments around the county that step up and do that and help out. But it's something that we need to take a deep look at the sheriff's office. Either we train our people properly to handle that or we get out of that business. So it's something we got to look at seriously. But, again, in the meantime, give us a call. We'll see what we can do. We do have some deputies out there that don't mind it. If we got those on duty, we'll send those, of course.
Let's talk about mental health. We got some new employees all around the county.
Right, and we've been talking about this. I know Jackie Clay from our county school superintendent is working a similar program to complement each other for kids. We've been putting one together. We have a doctor on board. We just hired 3 more mental health professionals to work with the doctor. So you'll be seeing some more coming out on that, and my goal is to get them out there, get them in the communities, to have response vehicles to start getting in their early interdiction for these issues that we don't, before they break out and become a crisis, as we see around the nation. So again, we're on the cutting edge of that one. I'm very excited. This was grant-funded program too. Pretty much everything I'm talking about when I get on the show is grant-funded, outside the funds of the general funds of Cochise County. Now, people say, well, Sheriff, some of that money is still tax money. Folks, yes. So you pay taxes, that money goes away. If we don't ask for it, it's not coming back to Cochise County. What we're doing is getting it back to Cochise County in a way that makes our place, our home, a better place for all of us. So we're excited about getting them on board. You're going to see more on that soon.
And tomorrow you're actually going to be at a NAMI event.
Yes, NAMI is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I've been around NAMI. I've helped them in different programs throughout the years, but they're having their annual membership meeting and luncheon from 10 to 1 at the Rothery Center. So I'm going to stop by there. I sent Phyllis, who's been there for a long, long time, sent her a thing yesterday saying, hey, I'm going to stop by. I got some other stuff going on tomorrow too, but I want to make sure I support NAMI. They do great work here in Cochise County to help those in need.
And you were also at a summit in Flagstaff.
Yes, he just got back for 2.5 days at a summit up in Flag, and it's known as the powwow. That's what they've called it, where state, local, and federal government comes together to address issues. Law enforcement, county attorneys, I mean, you name it. Pretty much everybody within government. Mayors are there, board of supervisors go up there, and then it's just different meetings and addressing different concerns. And we had a couple of sheriff's meetings up there, a couple other meetings, and it's a good time just to, besides talking business, but just get to know some of our counterparts around the state when it comes to government officials, and having those relationships and networks makes a big difference for Cochise County. The grants I talk about, the reason we get so many grants, over $100 million over the last 11 years, the reason we get those is we network, we show our worth, when, especially starting these kind of conferences. So there is worth to doing that.
And so networking and integrating and being cooperative are things that we all need to look at within Cochise County. And one of the most recent things has been Wilcox and Bisbee have come over to CCOM into the regional center, and they're helping with their communications needs. So instead of them having their own dispatchers, they've actually integrated into CCOM for that portion of their duties.
Let me just say, it's hallmark what we're doing here in Cochise County when it comes to our regional CCOM. We've had some growing pains. I don't think anybody in the public or anybody in public safety can argue that or debate that. We concede to that. But I'm telling you, the growing pains have been minimal and nominal when it comes to where we're at today. A one-stop 911 center. That was a goal 11 years ago when we put this together. It was territorial, because people didn't want to give it up. I was just talking to Chief Adam Thrash yesterday, and I'll hit on him in just a minute. But we talked about that, and the fact that we both give up our dispatch centers for a regional concept, but it's not about us. It's about the public when they call 911 in an emergency situation, that you don't have to be transferred. You have a one-stop shop. And so I'm so excited where we're at that. Getting Bisbee, Wilcox, Douglas, we're building up their center down there as a backup system. Tombstone's on board. Everybody's on board. Fort Huachuca's a partner with us with the IT backbone on the, which is the infrastructure that they use up on Fort. Everything we're doing here is just so nice, and it's all in the benefit of the people. We just got a grant for brand new radios, the generation radios, new ones, for all fire and police in Cochise County. And that's a grant we put in. It's like a $6 million grant. We just got awarded that. So we're ordering radios for everybody, which means, and we also got a grant that adds on statewide interoperability. So our system, our robust system here in Cochise County, will be connected to Yuma and the state of Arizona. So what that means is any deputy, any firefighter, police officer that's traveling, say they're in Flagstaff like I just was, you'll have direct communication here in Cochise County with our CCOM. But also, when we make transports, like those mental health transports to Tucson or Phoenix, or a jail transport, and something goes wrong, they have direct communications. On the rural interstates, say up there on Marsh Station Road, where normally I don't have any communication, they can talk and say, we have a problem, we have a medical problem, we have another issue, that we can get direct back up to you right away. So again, it's just a good way of doing business in 2023. So again, that's a hallmark movement, and not just here. What we're doing here is, I think, remarkable.
And when you're talking about radios, the Governor Hobbs actually is going to be here next week, and she's going to be talking with you and with some community members in a roundtable, and then in a press conference about all of these things that are innovations going on in Cochise County, and she's helping with approving the funding for that.
Right, and Governor Hobbs was here, I think, a month and a half ago, and she heard from public safety, she heard from community members, mayors, others, in regards to what are our needs here. I mean, there's no doubt we're dealing with border challenges. I got a call last week from the governor's office saying, Sheriff, would you host us? I immediately called the president of Cochise College, my scheduler, and JD, thank you. And so we're going to have it over at Cochise College next week. But she's coming down to present some grants, especially to our smaller agencies that didn't get their money that they applied for, that they have their needs too. So we're excited about that. Thank you, Governor Hobbs, for coming here. Thanks for recognizing us. I mean, it's easy to forget us, and I say this all the time. The state of Maricopa, plentiful when it comes to road construction, plentiful when it comes to resources, equipment, tax base, you name it. Rural Arizona, rural America seems to be on the secondary burner. So when I see a governor doing that, I'm going to applaud it every time. So thank you, Governor Hobbs, for coming down here. Thanks for recognizing. And we've had discussions. I had a good conversation with the new Attorney General up in Flagstaff, Chris Mays. Had some very good talks. What was going on there, shared a lot of information about our border, our needs, and so again, we're moving that needle too. Elected officials have to work together. They do, and until it's proven that that person is unreasonable, let's just put it that way. But we have to work together, absent the politics, for the people.
Let's talk about social media for a minute, because social media for individuals can be tricky, an odd place to be, but for the sheriff's office, it's the same.
It is. We give out public safety information and community updates. That's what we do. And no matter what we put out there, there's always that one person or a handful that like to throw in a dagger, like to throw in something negative. And that's your right. I'm not going to debate that. We don't debate it on our social media page unless it gets to a level of so aggressive or offensive or violent that we have to remove it. And that's under a case law. But the bottom line is this. It's some of the people, and Grady, you made a comment the other day talking to you this week about social media. Can you share it with the viewers?
A lot of times, if there's something really negative, we go look at that person, and they're from out of our state. They don't even live here.
I think a lot of them are that way, right?
Yeah, there are quite a few.
That are they're not even our citizens, but you're going to come in there and hammer us. How about get to know us? I mean, truly, we got great citizens here that truly care about their quality of life and their government, and we work for them. And that's what social media is all about in my mind. But when people come up and just throw these daggers that make no sense, and it'd be so easy to respond. And Carol and Grady, both of you, I commend you both for not making this a public dispute, because that's what they want. They want that fuel. They'll look at that argument in the public's eye, social media eye, but we don't do that. We take the higher road, and that's that professionalism we try to bring.
And we really enjoy when our citizens do stand up for us on our page. We enjoy that. So thanks for doing that as well. Yes,
and I remember you saying that too, and I echo that. It's nice to have our citizens come up, and because they're the true defenders of the quality of life here. They really are. And for somebody from the outside, and you can't tell from their outside until you do some looking on the backside of that, but it's nice to see that. Trust me, it's refreshing when I hear that.
And some of the quality of life and information sharing we're doing as well is back to school fairs. Can you believe it's already almost that time?
2 weeks, yeah. It's like summer just got here, and yeah, the monsoon's flowing in here right now, but yeah, back to school. So here we'll talk probably next week. We'll probably hit that pretty hard with the school buses and all this coming up, and kiddos back on the streets and their bikes and walking across crosswalks. So you know what our safety message is going to be next week. So it's coming up.
Well, let's talk about your stop of the week, and I understand it has to do with having your insurance with you.
I had two, where if you buy a vehicle, it's very simple. Go to Motor Vehicle, their online services, for $3 to $5, and don't hold me on the number, but it's very inexpensive. For a 3-day pass, 10, 15-day pass, you can get a temporary permit. You pay for it right there. Keep it on your phone. If you need to stop, you show the law enforcement officer, hey, I have this. But people are under they can buy a car and drive down the road. And that goes for insurance, too. It is illegal in the state of Arizona to drive a car without registration of any kind or insurance. I had another stop with a family that had children in the back that they had no insurance. That's a $1,000 fine, and I'm not saying as a judge here. I'm saying as by average, it's usually a $1,000 fine if you don't have insurance. Take that $1,000 and put it towards your insurance. I mean, trust me, if you have an accident without insurance, you hit somebody, or even if it's not your fault, you're going to have a suspension. Usually they'll suspend your registration. If you get in an accident or you stop for no insurance, there's a chance you can lose your registration. It's called MI, mandatory insurance suspension. And you got to pay a reinstatement fee. A whole bunch of stuff comes into play. It's a domino of negative right there. So please get insurance and minimum have liability. And again, I'm speaking very generic when I say that. But and I get the finances and I get the challenges and right now with inflation. But if you're going to drive a car, you got to do that. You truly do. So don't put yourself in a bad situation. It only compounds if you have a bad situation like an accident.
And what is your safety message of this week, seeing that we actually have some moisture in our air?
I know. It's great, isn't it, though?
It is.
I'm seeing the green popping out. It's just, being from the Midwest, you can imagine how excited I am about that. But the safety message is the rain's here. The monsoon's here. So as the ground becomes more and more saturated, and we have these flash monsoons, flash floods sparked by it, turn around, don't drown. You're going to hear us say that a lot next couple of months because it seems like once a year during monsoon we lose a citizen. And those are never good, both for our rescuers, search and rescue, to include our law enforcement that are out there, firefighters, but also most important for the family members. So please turn around. That water doesn't take much to sweep a car, right? Get that car lifted and it's gone. And again, I've been at those tragedies and they're horrible. And but before we close out, I got to give a shout out to Adam Thrasher. I said earlier in the show here, I went and had a soda with him yesterday. We recognized him, the police chiefs and myself, here about a month ago during Top Cop in May. But he is retiring after a successful career. I mean, he's been the chief of Sierra Vista for the last 7 years, I believe it's been, 8 years. But he's been my partner over there. I mean, when it comes to critical events around Cochise County, I've called him, his team, and my team, and the other law enforcement. We come together. If there's an issue at Sierra Vista PD, he calls me, and so I took him and had a soda yesterday. We drove around, just kind of remembered how times were and how times have changed, and I wish him well. He's going to be still serving the community as a teacher. He's going to become a teacher, and he was talking, he's excited about that. But Adam, I just want to say to you and your family, thank you for your service here for Cochise County, the city of Sierra Vista, and all of you've done, and I wish you well. And one last shout out, I know I did it last week, I'm going to do it again. General Hale, his wife Stacy, thank you for your service to this community also. He's been a true friend, true partner, and a real leader for Fort Huachuca and the surrounding community. So I wish you both very well.
And he's going to be our next guest as soon as you're done here today as well. So
great. Yeah, I mean, he's been on the show several times. I mean, he doesn't hesitate to come on down here, and he's just a welcoming person, and he's also getting his third star. So make sure you when you guys talk to him, he told me he's getting his third star. He's going to, I think, DC or something like that. But either way, he'll tell you more about that. But General Hale, thank you so much.
Major General Hale coming up next. It's First Watch, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, sir, for being here. So we're going to let you do your introduction.
Great, Carol and Grady. Thanks for inviting me back. You know, one of my last acts as the Commanding General of the United States Intel Center of Excellence in Fort Huachuca as I get ready to change command. So I'm Major General Tony Hale, the CG at Fort Huachuca, and it's great to be back with you all again.
And I know you like to use the word we, so what have we accomplished while you've been here on Fort Huachuca?
Grady, that is a great question, and I will tell you the last 36 months has been an amazing ride with Team Huachuca. You know, we started 36 months ago looking back at our past and the history of Fort Huachuca to see how we could utilize that for the future of what the Army and the Department of Defense needs from Fort Huachuca and the unique environment here in southern Arizona. So over the past 3 years, we have really brought back the history of Fort Huachuca and the Buffalo Soldiers, where we came from, the outpost in 1877, and we really are capitalizing on the environment here in the electromagnetic spectrum and what we can do in the training environment to prepare ourselves for the next conflict with our peer adversaries such as China and Russia. You can do things here in southern Arizona that you can't do anywhere else in the continental United States, and we've already been doing that out on the First Lieutenant John R. Fox multi-domain operational range. As an example, you can execute electronic warfare, SIGINT, cyber, and space operations from here in southern Arizona. Just as a quick example, when we send emissions through the airwaves to jam a signal, here in southern Arizona, we can, from the ground, emit 100 watts. From the air, we have emitted 3,000 watts through our Air Force joint partners in their aircraft called Compass Call. Anywhere else in the United States from the ground, you can emit 0.05 watts. That's it. You can do a lot of things here in southern Arizona because of our unique terrain, because of the airspace, because of the restricted and delegated airspace over Fort Huachuca. So I mentioned we brought back the history of Fort Huachuca and Buffalo Soldiers. We established Buffalo Soldier Day. We have an annual Buffalo Soldier ceremony on the 28th of July now. You know, the garrison won the Installation Management Command Garrison for the Army of 2021. We also won the 2022 Commander-in-Chief Installation Award given out by the President each year, so we're really proud of that. The other things we've done is really change the climate and culture of our organizations on Fort Huachuca, and that's really been done by positively engaged leaders at echelon across our formations. We've actually on the 1st of May signed a Team Huachuca strategic plan in which my battle buddy, Major General Chris Eubank, the NETCOM commander, myself, and Maya Clea McCaw from Sierra Vista signed this strategic plan for Fort Huachuca and what we would do to ensure that we supported the Army and the Department of Defense to 2030. So from 2023 to 2030, here's our plan, 4 lines of effort of how we're going to improve Fort Huachuca. But I would tell you, it wasn't just the fort and the city. The county was involved, the state was involved. We actually had leaders, from our elected leaders' offices involved. But we wanted to really bring back Fort Huachuca to be what it can for the Army of 2030 and beyond. As we looked at my priority for Fort Huachuca, it was all about our people. What do we do to take care of our people? We have the number 3 housing in the Army here at Fort Huachuca. The number 1, 2, and 4 installations for housing don't have the number of houses we have on Fort Huachuca. So we say that we're the number 1 housing in the Army because we have more housing than the 1, 2, and 4. But as you look at what we've done for our people, we've put that sense of pride back in our Army profession called Us Army. I have 3 objectives: build leaders, drive change, and inform. And in every objective area, we have made irreversible momentum. Building leaders, as I mentioned before when I was here, we train from private to colonel every year. In driving change, we've done that in training by updating all of our program of instruction. I also mentioned the establishment of the First Lieutenant John R. Fox Range, a Buffalo soldier who won the Medal of Honor, and that was issued in 1993 by President Clinton, but he died in World War II in 1942 on December 26, in a castle, basically, in Italy, calling in fire on his own location because he was about to get overrun by German soldiers. In our doctrine for the Army, we have updated multiple Army training publications, Army doctrine publications, but most recently we submitted the Bible for Intel, which is our Field Manual 2.0 intelligence to complement FM 3.0 operations that the Army just released last October at AUSA. This year at AUSA, we're going to release FM 2.0 and hand out copies, but we did that in 10 months, whereas it takes most in warfighting functions about 2 years to write a field manual. We did it in 10 months. And then in modernization, we're in the largest modernization that our Army has been in since World War II. And we've got multiple programs to enhance the capability of our formations, of our intel soldiers at Echelon. So we're fielding new equipment, more so than we've ever done before. So we've made great strides at Fort Huachuca. And I would say irreversible momentum for the future of Fort Huachuca to be, a great installation, a place where people want to come, a station of choice here in southern Arizona.
And we have definitely accomplished a lot while you were here, so thank you for all of those things. Let's talk about the community. So do you have a message on your way out to the Fort Huachuca community and the county and Sierra Vista communities?
So absolutely, Grady. I will tell you that Fort Huachuca has been embraced by Sierra Vista, by Cochise County, but really the entirety of the state. Most folks don't know that Fort Huachuca is the #1 DOD economic impact in the state of Arizona. That's huge. In the McGuire survey in 2015, the last time it was done, Fort Huachuca brings in $3.2 billion with a B dollars annually to the state of Arizona. We're undergoing a McGuire study right now, and because it was delayed due to COVID, but we assess we'll probably be pushing close to the $4 billion mark when that assessment is complete later on this year. But the mayor, whether it was Mayor Mueller, whether it was Mayor McCaw, absolutely embraced the fort in every endeavor that we've done. The county, Sheriff Daniels just walked out of here. He's been a great partner, but not only the sheriff, but the county administrators, etc., and mayors throughout the county, as well as State Senator Gowan has been very active with Fort Huachuca. We can't do what we do in Fort Huachuca without the community support. And in turn, I think the community couldn't do what it does without the fort right here. Sometimes, folks outside the gate don't understand what we're doing inside the gate and vice versa, and that's okay. But we depend on each other. So I just want to give a huge shout out to the community, to all of our elected leaders, but to everyone who lives in and around Fort Huachuca for being great neighbors and great partners.
And then coming up on Wednesday is your change of command ceremony. Tell us about that.
Right. So, Grady, time-honored tradition, the change of command on historic Brown Parade Field at 0700 on the 19th of July, and that's next Wednesday. 0700 because it's going to get hot pretty quick, and we're going to have about 1,000 soldiers out on the parade field on parade. On historic Brown Parade Field, I was just updated this morning. Governor Hobbs is coming down for the change of command. A lot of our elected officials are going to be here. Representatives from all of our state elected officials, Senator Kelly, Sinema, Congressman Ciscomani will all have representatives here as well. But that's a big ceremony. My boss, my immediate boss, Lieutenant General Beagle from the Combined Arms Center, is flying in the night before to execute that change of command. I'm changing command with Brigadier General Richard Applehans coming to us from United States Forces Korea, where he was the J2, the senior intel officer there for the last 2 years. So I look forward to watching as I move on to the Pentagon what Fort Huachuca continues to do, as I think we've put them on an indelible path for continued success.
Well, Major General Hale, we thank you for coming and talking to us today, and we thank you for everything you've done for Fort Huachuca and our community.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Grady. Great to be with you this morning.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch Now
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
Welcome back, Cochise County, and thank you so much, Captain Bays, for being here. The Heather Bays
Yes.
of the Captain Bayses.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
having
much
me.
for coming. So tell us a little bit about what you are doing tomorrow.
Okay, so what we're doing is we will be at Walmart at both doors doing what we partner with Walmart every year and stuff the bus, to help kids that don't have the funds or the resources to have school supplies. So we will be outside from 8 until 2 tomorrow, and we hope to stuff our whole truck. We don't have a bus, but we have our truck.
That's even better.
Yes.
So there
Yeah.
you go. So if you're out and about tomorrow and you happen to be shopping, because again, we were talking earlier, it's almost back to school.
I know, it's
Can you
crazy.
just pick up a little bit extra and just drop it off at the Salvation Army?
Absolutely. Well, so we're having a big event on July 30th. We're partnered with Ginger's Hair Salon as well as Juan's Barber Shop, and a couple other hairdressers and barbers are going to be at Salvation Army after church, and they'll be giving free haircuts and styles for the kids going back to school because they go back that week, as well as they'll all get a free backpack for whatever's applicable to what grade they're in.
So that's what you're going to require is everything stuffing your truck will go into the backpacks for when they have the haircuts. So that's a really good twist on something that you don't normally see, but trying to get kids ready to get back to school. And sometimes if you're a parent, it's a little bit difficult to go into any place to get a haircut. You have to make an appointment usually. If you go on a walk-in, you have to wait. So this is a great way to give back to the community again, and we appreciate everything you're doing with that. And to Ginger's and to Juan's and to all of the others who are donating their time because it's free. It's free haircuts.
Yes, and we're going to have games and movies and fun stuff because we only have a certain amount of hairstylists. So as the kids and the families are waiting, we're going to have snacks and all kinds of fun stuff.
All right, so let's invite everybody tomorrow to give, and then let's everybody remind of what you're doing on the 30th as well.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much to the Sheriff's Department for our countywide food drive.
Oh, look at that.
Well, we want to say, not just me.
Did the Sheriff's Office win that food drive?
Yes, I'm pretty sure. So I was gone. I was in up at camp teaching at the end of it. But as far as I know, I'll double check today. Today's my first day back, so this was my first stop.
The Sheriff's Office was happy to help, but we want to thank individuals that gave the food
absolutely.
into the food bank. You guys did an awesome job. This community is amazing.
It is. And we were able to not only really help out St. Vincent de Paul's and Salvation Army's pantry, we were able to give hundreds of pounds also to a lot of our smaller pantries, as well as the LDS donated 24 pallets of food. So we were
Excellent.
able to give everyone food.
Excellent.
Well, not everyone, but the pantries.
Yes.
Invite everybody out one more time to your event tomorrow.
All right. So please come join us tomorrow at Walmart. You don't have to get everything at Walmart, but it is cheaper. So at Walmart, and then come and join us on July 30th for haircuts and the distribution of the backpacks.
Thanks for coming and talking to us today, Heather.
Thanks for having us.
First Watch on KWCD Country is brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Only